Hello, and welcome to Valencia College's Writing Workshops. My name is Chris Brown, and today we are talking about finding and quoting sources. This is in our series of workshops, and as we're getting closer to finals, this will help you understand how to integrate quotes into full sentences and why that's important, and what different types of sources are out there. And in our last workshop, we'll be talking about how to actually use the library database to find the sources you need for your projects. I'm Chris. I'm from the Writing Center over at Valencia College Winter Park, and thank you for attending today. Remember, you can always find other recordings of workshops and all the resources we go over today just by typing in Writing Workshops on the main search bar on the valenciacollege.edu homepage. It should be the first link there, and you'll see CSSC, that's the Communication Student Support Center over at Winter Park. So just look out for Writing Workshops, and you should see it right there. So I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go over this little presentation about how to incorporate quotations. All right, so first things first, let's take a look at why this is important. So for me, there's a few reasons to incorporate quotations into full sentences. Now, the biggest reason, I suppose, is going to be because most professors will require it. But the reason that it's required is because instead of just sticking a quote into the middle of a paragraph with no introduction, integrating it into one of your full sentences and incorporating it as part of one of your sentences will allow you to introduce the source, and it will allow you to tell the reader what's important about the source if you need to preface it in any way. So properly integrated quotes help them understand who is saying what, and it should become part of a full sentence. So it's important to make sure you have a full sentence like the author wrote, and then you quote them. So who is saying what? The most basic form of a quote is to state the name of the person you're quoting, a verb, and then the quoted material. So here we have Mark Johnson, a reporter at Time Magazine, said, right? So we know the author's last name, very important in case you just use the author's last name as a citation later. We've seen the author's last name here, so we can follow along that that's from Time Magazine. And we also know that this is from reporting. So Time Magazine, we would consider this probably a tertiary source or maybe a secondary source. Let's say Mark Johnson actually interviewed people on the street. Well, then those would be people who actually experienced it. Those could be firsthand witnesses. So when you think of sources, there are different levels to how close they are to the information. So if you think of a primary source, that's somebody who collected the data, who saw the car accident. That's somebody who's actually on the ground and is giving their eyewitness account. So this includes data scientists, people who are collecting data. Secondary sources are often news sources or research reports where they're going to have a lot of different firsthand accounts listed together. And then a tertiary source is the furthest one away, and that's like Wikipedia or an encyclopedia or some other reference where it has lots of different sources referenced there, and it's just a good place to find those sources altogether. You generally don't want to quote a tertiary source in your academic essays because there's going to be a more primary source somewhere in there. So if somebody is quoting somebody else, you might want to find that original quote because that is the most primary source, and that tells us who actually said and collected the information. So you may also need to splice a quote, and you can splice it, part of it into a sentence. So you might say something like, soon after meeting the peddler, Elisa tore off the battered hat and shook out her dark, pretty hair. So you see here we have the MLA styled citation there, which is the last name of the author and the page number of the direct quote. Whenever you see, whenever you try to include a quote with page numbers, you need to tell us what page that quote actually came from. Now, if you just summarize and you don't give direct quotes, you don't need the page number. And if you use a source that doesn't have page numbers, say an online source, something like that, you also don't require it. So here they've actually put it into the structure of the sentence, right? Elisa tore off is actually the main noun and verb of this sentence. And this is just an introductory clause, but the whole thing works together as a full sentence. So here we have some bad examples, all right? So soon after meeting the peddler, Elisa starts to open up, period. And then we have a full sentence from the book, but it's not part of the sentence. We don't want to do that. That's called dropping in a quote, and it's not incorporated, and it doesn't flow very well. Here's another example. After June's humiliating piano recital, Waverly adds insult to injury, period. You aren't a genius like me. You could say adds insult to injury, writing, comma, right? And then start that quote. You can also use the colon to be to give you another way of including quotation marks, and it's a really easy way to use it. So here's an example. After June's humiliating piano recital, Waverly adds insult to injury, colon, you aren't a genius like me. So instead of ending the sentence, the colon says, I'm going to give you more information about what I just summarized. So brackets are important because if you have to alter the quote in any way, you have to use brackets to show clarification. And it's easier to show you with an example, but basically you put brackets around anything you changed, and that tells your reader, this is not part of the original quote, but I'm just trying to clarify or add information that was part of that quote. So here's an example. Referring to one of his coworkers, Sammy observes that Stokesy thinks he's going to be manager one day. And then we have that citation from Updike, right? So you see we've added the character's name here because even though the character's name is not part of the original sentence, it clarifies who the sentence is about and who he refers to. So you're welcome to do this with brackets. Just make sure you don't add opinion or any information that the author of the original quote wouldn't have agreed with. Otherwise, it's a bad example of brackets. You also might omit words from the original quote, or you might link together two parts of a quote that are separated by, say, a clause in the middle that you don't need. So when you're omitting words, you use an ellipsis, and that's the 3 dots here. So after the peddler leaves, Elisa, quote, scrubs herself, ... That means something was left out until her skin was scratched and red. And then we have the citation, perhaps indicating her feelings of guilt following her intimacy with him. So that's really useful, especially because in final essays, professors don't want to see a whole paragraph of text. Now, a long quote is sometimes appropriate, but sometimes you don't need all that information. And if we just want to get to exactly what she did in this scene, we don't need the clause or sentence that was left out in the middle. Now, if you're going to quote something that's on 2 separate pages, you might want to consider writing 2 separate sentences about it. And you could just say, Elisa continues, comma, and then start the quote, right? What about a quote within a quote? So usually we use single quotation marks. So Maggie believes that single quote, no, is a word the world never learned to say to D. So because it's in double quotes in the original text, but you're quoting it, you only use single quotes here. All right, so we also have block quoting. Now in MLA, like I just mentioned, there is a time where you may need a nice big full paragraph just to cover something really simple, maybe the facts of a situation. And that always requires this separate paragraph formatting, at least when you're in MLA. So the way you do that is you highlight all of this and you indent it over. The same way you might indent the beginning of a paragraph, but it's all of it is indented. And then you put your citation at the end. Now, generally, you don't need this period afterwards. So if you use the citation at the end, what that says is that the citation refers to everything that came before it. So this last period isn't actually necessary. All right, so here are some things to remember. I know that was a lot of information. Feel free to reach out to us through distance tutoring. You can type in distance tutoring or online tutoring in the search bar to find us. And there's a LibGuide that will give you all the information about how to get connected to our tutors. Or feel free to reach out to me about this presentation. But these are the things I want you to remember about incorporating quotations. So don't overuse direct quotes. You want to use summary. You want to say what you know you can say without having to rely on the author. But of course, you do want to balance your own voice with quoted material. So as you summarize and quote and analyze, make sure you're balancing those 3 pieces. Don't summarize unimportant things and only quote what you're going to analyze. If it's not important to your thesis statement for your essay, then paraphrase it or skip over it. So only use direct quotes that keenly illustrate a point you're trying to make. So again, make sure that there's some connection between your thesis statement, the topic statement of the paragraph you're in, and the quote you're using, and never end a paragraph on a quotation mark. Always analyze it and connect it back to your thesis statement before moving on. Okay, so that's everything. I want to thank you again for attending. My name's Chris Brown, and I hope to see you at our next presentation where we'll talk more about getting into library databases and looking through those primary, secondary, and tertiary sources. Bye.